Hey, it's Satanico from Godlovescomics once again, and it's been a little while since I made a video. I made a couple in the interim, but they didn't turn out very well, so as usual when that happens, I just slash them. But I'm back today with what's usually pretty reliable in that I'm going to open a box that I received yesterday from Atomic Avenue. And Atomic Avenue, which I opened a box from them before. It's really a composite site that's not, it's pretty much the same as eBay, where it has a bunch of random dealers. But of course, the difference is that it's specifically for comics. The last time I opened a box from them, we had some good stuff, and everything was pretty cheap. I remember there was a Return of the Jedi, I believe. Was it Return of the Jedi? Or, yeah, Return of the Jedi Marvel Super Special, which I got for, I think, like 99 cents or 65 cents or something absurd like that. It wasn't in great condition, but with all Al Williamson art, and a Blade Runner that was like 65 cents, Blade Runner #1, and some other good comics, Iron Fist #4, stuff like that. So we're going to open up this box, and I bought $50 worth of comics, and when you do that, you get free shipping from this particular dealer. His name was Daniel. He's in Florida, and I was a little bit shocked because free shipping, $50. I definitely got my money's worth with the $50 worth of comics I purchased, and he sent it in a large priority mail box, which I think it's at least $15, but I think it's like $20 now to send. So I mean, $50 order, free shipping, and then he spent like maybe $20 on the shipping. So I feel a little bit bad about that. I mean, the guy didn't make any money, but anyway, let's crack this open and see what we got. And the box is a little bit too big, and my setup is a little bit too close to really squeeze it in there, so I'll just cut it open off camera. But you can hear me. You can hear the slicing and dicing that's going on in the background. Not too much. And voila! Right in. He's crammed some. Let's put the invoice in here, and packed it with some newspaper. A lot of newspaper. I think he's based in Miami. And put the comics between these two cardboard boxes. Said a lot of newspaper. So let's cut this open. Try not to look at the invoice too much, so it's still a little bit of a surprise of what I got. Even though I only ordered this a week ago, maybe, if that. Not even that. It was 3-day shipping. Got it to me really fast. Okay. I think this is an even better order than the last time. I think I got some pretty interesting comics. Oh, it's in this plastic bag here. And tear that off, and that wasn't hard, and here we go. So, knocked over my Planet of the Apes head. So first off is Action Comics number, is that 551? And that was purchased, looks really nice copy. That was purchased because John Byrne, I believe John Byrne art. Actually, what's interesting about that is it's a Kane cover. you can see Gil Kane draws Superman just a little bit differently, and I haven't seen Gil Kane drawing Superman too much, and I've been pretty into seeing, you know, lots of Gil Kane stuff recently, and so I thought it was pretty cool to get that, and especially I think this is, I'm going to look at the prices, but I think it cost me maybe 75 cents, something like that. It's really cheap, yeah. Oh, no. Okay. I paid a little bit more for this one. Action Comics 551, very fine to near mint for $2.75. So I'm surprised I paid quite that much for that, but actually it may all be Gil Kane art, and I'll take a look at that afterwards. And here we go with Action Comics number 553, and that is Gil Kane again. You can see clearly the GK, and let's see, that was 76 cents. I'm not quite sure what the disparity is for 551 and 553, that there would be that kind of disparity in the price. It's not like it's a big deal, 275, 76, but they're both very fine to near mint. And this next one, okay, this is John Byrne, definitely, and that's 584. I was looking back when I was doing some scans of some of the old, they're not really that old to me, but they're actually from 1987, so it's surprising how fast time flies. But I had just a smattering of John Byrne Superman. I think I didn't like him that much at the time. I mean, it wasn't quite the same as, you know, obviously his stuff on Inhumans, but I mean, Inhumans, Uncanny X-Men, but there's an Inhumans thing on my screen. But looking back at him, I mean, there was some really phenomenal work in there, and certainly worth, the art was pretty amazing, probably better than his Fantastic Four stuff, and which I bought a few of those too. But so I picked these up. These were really cheap. Again, 76 cents. And this next one cost 76 cents as well. And again, that's John Byrne. Again, that's very fine to near mint. And I thought it was pretty cool. He's fighting Orion from Apocalypse, you know, one of the Jack Kirby creations. And really nice cover. Looks like it's in really good condition. And, you know, once again, I mean, I'm basically paying cover price for these, and they're already bagged and boarded. Really nice. And here's another one, Action Comics 587, and he's fighting the Demon, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, I like the Demon. I bought Demon number 2, which was actually when Kirby was doing it. I think also from Atomic Avenue. That was probably the most expensive comic I bought, and it was probably like $5 or $6, but it was in not so great condition. But again, I like these covers a lot, and I like John Byrne's art a lot. So there you go, another one. It's pretty fun to see Superman with the Hawkman and Hawkgirl, so I picked that up. And again, 588 is 76 cents. So I mean, all of those, with the exception of the first one. That one was $2.75, and then the rest were, you know, 76 cents each. 1 cent over cover price, and the cover price was 75 cents in 1987. So there you go. And here's a nice one, Amazing Spider-Man number 189, and again, John Byrne, Bob McLeod. Been on a little bit of a John Byrne tear. I've had plenty of his stuff when I was growing up, but just picking up some of the random stuff that I never got. And that one cost $3.71. Amazing Spider-Man number 189. And really nice cover. Astonishing Tales featuring Kazar and Dr. Doom. And I think I know why I bought this one. And it wasn't for the reprint. I think this is a reprint here of Dr. Doom battling the Red Skull. I don't really care about that. But if you see down here, Kazar, this is a Barry Windsor-Smith. He did the art for this. Let's crack that open and take a look at it. I saw a splash page, which was really nice. And Barry Windsor-Smith's stuff for his early Conan run, which I think was from issue 1 to 24. And I actually have 24, which is one of the most popular ones, because it has the first appearance of Red Sonja. I bought it a long time ago. It wasn't in great condition. And those are pretty expensive now. But this one, this Astonishing Tales cost me $4.43. And strange, even though they put the Kazar kind of at the bottom of the page, it's actually the feature, the first story. And there you go, right there. This was Barry Smith before the Windsor, before he became Windsor. Maybe he decided that Barry Smith, Smith was a little too commonplace, and certainly he kind of became legendary after he became Barry Windsor-Smith anyway, so beautiful. And he was still kind of in his formative point even when he was on Conan, and I think this may be before Conan, but I'm not positive. But this was in 1971. Tempted to say Conan was 1972, but I may be completely wrong about that. But I really like the artwork a lot. And I also like this character. I have never seen this story. This is the first time I'm looking at it. And I completely forgot that it had a petrified man. But I remember this character in a Marvel 2-in-1. He's a pretty terrifying, interesting character. I think he was, and he was with, I don't know, he was the Entropic Man or something. Maybe that's what he was going by. But, yeah, very cool. I'm very happy about this one. I'll definitely scan this story and put it up on the Bronze Age Facebook page, because it's not one that you see very often. Let's see if I find one more really nice looking page. Well, that's the last page of the story. And then this was a reprint, obviously. I'm pretty sure it was a reprint. By Larry Lieber, which is Stan Lee's brother, George Tuska, Mike Esposito, doing the inks for the Doctor Doom story. Even though it doesn't say reprint on it. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But I bought this for Barry Smith, and as I said, pretty happy with that. Not the best cover, but it's fine. And another one I'm really happy about. Really happy about. This is Batman Special #1. And this is listed as very good, but it actually looks a lot nicer than very good. And I know why. Okay. It looks great from the top 3/4 and down at the bottom here. It's difficult to see in the bag, but it looks like it has some water damage. There's a little bit of a water stain there, and then there's some kind of bumpiness here. We're going to open that up as well, because that is Michael Golden. And I'm a big fan of Michael Golden as well. I pretty much buy most stuff that he did, particularly in the Bronze Age. Kind of went off the rails after that. He's still working, and I'm happy that he is. I think he's pretty successful selling his original art. He's got a fan following. But I didn't get to see very much of his stuff when he was doing Batman, certainly. So I was pretty excited about this page. I don't know if you can see that right there. Probably not. This is actually a pretty nice copy. It's a lot better than very good from my perspective. It's just this water, this sort of water stain, this sort of bumpiness that knocked it down. Otherwise, it would have been a near mint copy. I mean, the cover pops is really beautiful, and so that's even much better than I anticipated. No idea what the level of Golden's work was for this, but I anticipate it was good, and it is. He always draws these sort of beautiful, sort of rounded faces, very expressive. Always had a manga influence before manga had really ever taken off on these shores. Really, no one knew what manga was, or no one knew anything about Japanese comics. And this is Batman versus the Wrath. I'm not particularly familiar with that character, but I bought this entirely because of Michael Golden art. I was looking forward to seeing this, and doesn't disappoint. I did not see who was the inker. I haven't even seen. I'm not quite sure if I missed the credits or not, but whatever. Some really nice pages. Let's see if I can find another nice page. Well, they're all nice. I mean, if you're a Golden fan, you'll appreciate. If it's kind of new to comics, or kind of came along when Image and Jim Lee or whatever, you might not quite get it. I'm not sure, but and that's a really nice page, a really nice panel, close up on the eyes, a great sort of 3-panel shot of the Batman emerging from the shadows. Yeah, very happy with this, and I look forward. I believe I'm not sure if there are other Golden works on Batman. I would assume there are. My next sort of target artist for Batman is Don Newton, and a very overlooked artist who I think is probably one of my favorites on Batman. But that is Batman Special number 1, 1984. Because it was in very good, I paid $1.49 for that. Completely worth it. As I said, a little bit of water damage that makes it kind of bumpy at the bottom here. You can't even really tell when you go inside the book, and the cover is really nice. I'm actually really excited about that condition. I'm very tempted to say it's fine. Almost very fine. I may say very fine, but some water damage at the bottom. But, really happy with that. And very happy with this. This is Blade Runner number 1. And I'm on a little bit of a Blade Runner tear now, because the movie's coming out, but it doesn't really have so much to do with the movie, even though I anticipate that these will rise in value a little bit because of the movie. I'm not sure if the movie will be successful or particularly big. The original Blade Runner was not a big success at all. It was actually I think a letdown initially, and then became just sort of a cult classic over time. And but I have a Blade Runner number 1 that I purchased off the spinner rack when it came out. Then I purchased this other copy from Atomic Avenue that I think was listed at very good and has a bend right here, and I purchased that for like 65 cents. This one I paid a little bit more for. I think I paid about $6. Let's see, $5.55. Listed at very fine to near mint. So actually most of the copies that were at that grade were selling for around $10 to $12, and I actually feel like if this isn't an upgrade from the one that I own already, that I purchased when it came out, which I think is in really good shape, if it's not an upgrade from that, I'll probably just sell this copy maybe for 15, 12, 15. Who knows? I say that, but I may end up keeping it. But again, Al Williamson art with Carlos Garzon beautiful cover. The interiors are beautiful. If you're interested in seeing the interiors, just go back and look for one of the videos, one of my unboxing videos from Atomic Avenue before, and you can see me rummaging through that issue. And here we go with really nice Detective Comics Batman Year 2 Part 2. Of course, there was Batman Year 1, which was done by Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli, and this is actually a Todd McFarlane cover, and I thought it would be pretty cool to get a Todd McFarlane cover for Batman. It's not anything that I have before. I have a few McFarlane issues of various things, some Spider-Man, which are really cheap, but I thought it was a really nice cover, and I thought it was pretty cool to see Todd's work on Batman. I've been watching some of his videos. Obviously, he took a lot of flack back in the old days of Image, and he's obviously had a few run-ins with some people like Neil Gaiman, but his videos on his page are really pleasant, and he actually is a really talented artist, whether you like his aesthetics or not. And he certainly has held up a lot better than, say, Rob Liefeld, who kind of deserves some of the flack. But here you go, interiors. Oh yeah, and this was inked by Alfredo Alcala, who was pretty legendary. You know, not really a huge fan favorite, but a guy who did a lot of work for Marvel and for DC back in the 80s. I'm pretty sure he has since passed away, but pretty cool that he was actually inking Todd McFarlane. That's pretty unusual that Alcala was on it. It actually does not look like Todd's best work. This is sort of when he was still doing, he's probably just trying to just get through this issue and do it competently, and he wasn't really doing the Todd thing of stretching the boundaries of storytelling and making the cape. He does a little bit of the crazy sort of cape stuff that eventually he did with Spawn, but story doesn't look like it really lets him stretch his wings too much and go crazy. But see a little bit of his telltale style maybe in the smoke there, but otherwise pretty straightforward artwork, nothing spectacular. I like the cover though, and that issue, as I said, cost me $5.55. Alright, let's put these aside. Maybe I'll go back and look at this Gil Kane artwork in there. So far, very happy with this order. Okay, and that's Fantastic Four 257, and we're back on the John Byrne train again. And I bought these basically, I was trying to fill out some of the order and reach the $50, but it also, these were just, they were basically free. They were almost for free. 257, again, this is 76 cents. And going back and looking at the Fantastic Four that I had already in my collection that Byrne did, which I didn't really appreciate quite as much when it came out, but now going back to look at it, I appreciate it a lot more, and so I was happy to buy some of these issues that were so cheap. And this is kind of a famous one, The Trial of Reed Richards. I think I wasn't paying any attention. I quit comics, wasn't interested in comics at the time this came out, so I wasn't really paying much attention. But this is a pretty important issue, and it's not particularly valuable. But again, I'm sure it has pretty amazing art, because you can see the cover, all the detail, all those characters, and including a lot of sort of X-Men peripheral characters. And so that should be pretty interesting to look through as well. And that cost $1.13. Again, so I mean, these were almost free. And this was, as you can see up here, Assistant Editor Month. So there were a lot of crazy things going on that month at Marvel. And they were just having fun. And I like this cover a lot. And that's more John Byrne. and that one cost 38 cents. It's fine. Looks like it's near mint to me. Okay, there's maybe a little nick here, but other than that, I would say very fine at the very least. 38 cents. But this run was not valuable. It's not something that's collectible particularly, at least not yet. And so, so picking up a couple more Byrne works for, I would say, 76 cents, $1, and, so I mean, $2 for like 3 comics. Nice. Kamandi, number 22, and that is classic Kirby. And we'll definitely take a look inside that as well at the end. Dolphins kept all men in tanks. One man kept all dolphins in fear, the Red Baron. So the Red Baron is fighting dolphins, evil dolphins. But Kamandi's world was a wacky world, to say the least, and so I don't know who's the good guy. I thought Kamandi's the good guy, but it sounds like the Red Baron is the good guy. He's fighting evil, enslaving dolphins. Hard to say, but Kirby at some of his wackiest. I mean, he was always a little bit crazy in terms of his storytelling, and his art is always amazing, so looking forward for that. This is Marvel Fanfare number 13, and I get that solely for the Arthur Adams cover, and also, again, dirt cheap, 58 cents. 58 cents. When this came out, in the 80s, it was $1.50. So, for 58 cents, Arthur Adams cover, if that's all there is in it, I would be happy. But I think there's some pretty good art inside as well. I have the Marvel Fanfares, which I've shown on here before in another video. 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. The ones that had Paul Smith and Michael Golden, and then a couple of other issues that have Marshall Rogers and P. Craig Russell. But I stopped collecting it. They sort of fell off with in terms of the art, in terms of the quality. There were sort of backup stories that Marvel just kind of cataloged just to safeguard against deadlines, and then eventually published in Marvel Fanfare. But so I never saw this one, and since I saw it online, I was really happy to get another Arthur Adams cover. And speaking of Michael Golden from those, from the Batman special, this is sort of classic where Golden emerged first in comics. I'm sure he did some work before this, but that's Micronauts number 2. I thought I had most of the Micronauts run, but there were several sort of, I think there are a few Golden issues that I was missing, and I think number 2 was one of them. And so, and again, it's extremely cheap. This cost 58 cents. So they're almost basically giving it away. And it's in really nice condition, really nice cover. And same number 3. Really nice condition, really nice cover, Michael Golden art, and 58 cents. So you almost can't lose. And then, okay, go to another classic, George Perez. Again, a series I kind of collected on and off when it first came out, New Teen Titans. I was very sad that George Perez left Marvel and went to DC, but and didn't quite like his work as much at DC as I did at Marvel, because I was an Avengers fan. I really wanted him to stay in Avengers, but in retrospect, he did a lot of really great work for New Teen Titans with Romeo Tengal and Marv Wolfman, so, and really nice artwork. I don't even recall seeing this cover, even online, so pretty happy to get it, and again, some kind of crazy price, 58 cents. And another New Teen Titans with another really detailed cover, and again, that costs 58 cents as well. The price when it came out was 75 cents. It looks brand new. It's bagged and boarded, and whether it's collectible or not. I'm buying it for the art, and so very happy to have it. And the next up is something I'm pretty excited about. This is Star Wars number 50. I was, and I hope I'm not going to be disappointed by this. I was under the impression that that Al Williamson's only work on Star Wars was during The Empire Strikes Back, during the actual series, which was, I think, issue 39 to 44, something like that. And I have most of those issues, but and then he did a Marvel Super Special that was for Return of the Jedi, but that was in a separate sort of mini-series. But I heard that this had Al Williamson art in it. At least it was listed online as having such. The cover is by Tom Palmer. It is number 50, which sometimes is a special issue. And this would have been, as I said, if his run on Empire Strikes Back ended at number 44, this would be in pretty close proximity, so maybe they get him to do another issue. So let's see if I'm going to be disappointed. Yes, I'm not disappointed. It's a little bit different than expected. It's Al Williamson, Tom Palmer, and Walt Simonson. So, 3 great artists. I mean, I'm not a huge Tom Palmer fan. I mean, he's fine, but he's not somebody that you go out of your way to collect. But Walt Simonson, not his best work when he was working on Star Wars. I mean, he was unbelievable on Thor, because he really worked in his own style. But that's clearly Williamson's work still. You know, I would say that definitely looks like Williamson. Definitely Williamson. So very happy I got that. Not disappointed at all. I think probably this looks like a pretty hefty issue. So I'm assuming that Williamson did some pages and then turned the work over to Palmer, perhaps, and then Simonson. It would be nice if he penciled all of them and they just inked him. But and that may be a possibility. But I'm seeing a lot of Al Williamson work that I've purchased recently that I haven't seen before, including recently, oops, hit my microphone. Recently, the sort of old Flash Gordon adaptation to the really cheesy movie from the 70s or 80s, I'm not sure, with Sam Jones in it. I think it's Sam Jones. But the artwork for, once again, Al Williamson's adaptation is beautiful. The movie sucked, but the artwork is amazing. I bought the hardcover golden book on Amazon for, I think, $5 or $6. I did a video on that unboxing, but as I said, it didn't turn out very well. But yep, this was mostly, okay, this is when the style maybe changes. I don't know. That's still definitely Williamson. And yeah. Okay, so I'm really happy that looks like the style's changed a little bit. This looks more like Palmer's work now. Yeah, that's more like Tom Palmer, sort of the heavier inking style. But definitely Al Williamson did the opening, and then this is maybe Walt Simonson. Yeah, maybe so. His style looks quite a lot different. So maybe this is Palmer and that was Simonson back here. Can't really tell because Simonson's style was very different on Star Wars. He really was able to do his own thing when he went to Thor, and that was when it kind of groundbreaking. But yeah, I'm really happy again. That's Star Wars number 50, and again, that is $149. Absolutely worth it. Especially as Star Wars series, particularly the Marvel series, let's see what year this came out, has obviously continued to rise in value. This one was released in 1981. It's a really nice issue, a really nice copy. He had it listed as fine. I would see. I probably am less strident when it comes to grading. I would say very fine, but whatever. Very happy with the condition of these. And next up, really nice Submariner. Completely forgot that I ordered this. But that is a Gil Kane cover as well, I'm fairly certain. And I always like Sunfire as a character. So that's the Submariner versus Sunfire. And it was number 52. And probably Gil Kane art throughout. This cost me, okay, this costs $1.13. So 20-cent comic. So it's from the 70s, $1.13. And Gil Kane art, again, absolutely worth it. And now a couple of the gems of this collection. And when I say gems, you know, as you can see, I've paid very little for these issues. And they've been beautiful condition. And I'm very happy with the art. As I said, we'll go back and look at these couple of different issues inside in a moment. But let's look at a couple of real interesting comics here I'm pretty happy to get. This is Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans. As you can see, 12 cents, number 21. And I was interested in getting this Nick Cardy art. And the original Teen Titans, the original Wonder Girl versus Hawk and Dove. This issue, let's see, is listed as very good, number 21, and I'm not quite as thrilled because there's some dirt along here. But again, I'm not sure if that shows up, but along the top and a little bit on the title, almost looks like it was splashed with some. It could be, you know, you never know. It could be coffee, it could be Coca-Cola, could be anything really. But this issue cost $4.80. Still incredibly cheap. Nick Kardi, kind of a legendary cartoonist, not very well known now. But and I don't own any of his artwork. I've heard of him. I've read some interviews, and he was kind of at DC at an age when I wasn't collecting. Well, he was well before my time anyway. But I also wasn't really into DC Comics as much. But this was from 1969, and let's see. He did really nice covers. He's primarily best known for Teen Titans and Aquaman, and maybe Green Arrow, but I'm not sure. There were like 3 titles he was very well known for. You can see some of the art pages here. Even the ads are interesting. For Nightmaster. So, yeah. Nice artwork inside, but it's really his covers. They just have a grace. They're graceful, but they're also exciting. They're interesting. Splash page. He's a very sort of formalist. And I would say he sort of preceded Neil Adams, who got so much credit for, you know, his realism and his anatomy. But Nick Cardy's anatomy looks pretty spot on. And he certainly preceded Neil Adams. But of course, a lot of great artists. You know, obviously Al Williamson and the guys from EC did as well. So, but I think the thing with Neil Adams is that he brought so much realism in terms of his anatomy to, you know, Batman and some of the classic DC stuff, and eventually did some work for Marvel as well. But it's not as if there weren't artists already doing that long before he arrived. It wasn't like everyone was drawing like Kurt Swan. But anyway, so that's a really nice issue to have. Not, as I said, the cover still pops. I like the cover a lot, but it's a little bit dirty. Yeah, it's got some spots there. which is a little bit unfortunate, but we'll hold this other one. Okay, and then this is sort of a classic Kardi cover with Wonder Girl, and it looks like it has the exact same issues as the other one. It has dirt, like splatters of dirt. It's not foxing. It's not oxidization. It's just splatters of dirt up here around the title, maybe a little bit even around here. It's got a little bend there, a little bit of stress here, but I mean, if it didn't have the dirt on it, it'd be in really nice shape. It's nice and flat, doesn't have very much stress on the spine at all, and a really beautiful cover. Wonder Woman, or Wonder Girl, I should say, not drawn rail thin at all. She's a girl with some meat on her bones, but beautiful cover, kind of a classic. And I saw it and thought, yeah, I would like to have that. And again, this was okay, this one was $443 and the other one was $480. So that was kind of the biggest expenditure. These two comics, 12 cents, and then it had just gone up just 2 issues later to 15 cents from 1969, and both Nick Cardy covers. So I spent $9 total on those, but I think worth it. Unfortunately, the dirt, sort of dirty speckling, both renders them both as very good, and probably makes them a lot less appealing to somebody who might want to buy them. But I'm not necessarily selling them anyway. Once again, I bought them because I wanted some Nick Cardy art. And kind of an old classic when you're talking Uncanny X-Men. You really can't go wrong. And this is an issue I didn't have, so I wanted it. Looks like you've got the angel kind of being crucified, and you've got a rat in the foreground. And I think, I'm not sure if this is signed. I think this is when Romita Jr. was doing the art, but I'm not positive. Oh no, okay, this is Paul Smith. Yeah, PMS. I do believe so, and I'm a big Paul Smith fan, so that's really nice. And that issue cost me $4.75. So again, that was actually a little more expensive than the Teen Titans, but there were a lot of first appearances in there as well. I think the Morlocks and a couple of other villains. And I'll be happy to look in that issue. Okay, and then this is $2.74. I bought it for the Jim Lee cover. It's not one I own, obviously, and I thought it was still... I like Jim Lee's art at this period because I was out of comics. I wasn't really following X-Men at this point. And then subsequently I've looked back and I've seen it, and, obviously I didn't like a lot of the stuff that came after sort of the classic period of Cockrum and John Byrne, and then you had really good follow-ups from Paul Smith and even John Romita Jr. And I think when Mark Silvestri came on board, I was kind of getting off board, so I never really was around for the Jim Lee stuff. But going back and looking at it, like, that's a really great cover, and that issue costs $3.33. It's in very fine to near mint, so perfectly worth it. And the last copy, is King Size Annual X-Men number 6, and I got this for the obvious reason that it was, a cover by Bill Sienkiewicz in 1982, and I think the interior art as well by Bill Sienkiewicz. Not really his more idiosyncratic style. It's, you can tell it's there's some sort of unusual figure drawing there, but I mean, it's not the crazy sort of Sienkiewicz that we're used to from New Mutants and even later issues perhaps of Moon Knight. But Sienkiewicz drawing the X-Men is pretty interesting to me, to say the least. I think he did the interior art as well. And this issue cost $2.79. So, and that is the last issue. So I got a lot of interesting comics. Let's take a look and see if there's how nice the art is or not. But yeah, Chris Claremont, Bill Sienkiewicz, Bob Wyacek. Wyacek's not really, he's a solid inker, but he's not really a kind of guy who probably looks best on Sienkiewicz. In fact, I'm not sure if anybody really works with Sienkiewicz except for Sienkiewicz. Pretty interesting. Blood Feud, Dracula. So, this is not a super collectible in terms of Uncanny X-Men, even though it was from the 1980s. But I wanted to see Bill Sienkiewicz drawing the X-Men. It's kind of, again, much like Walt Simonson doing Star Wars. He's kind of still a more utilitarian style that you don't expect. It's not when the cuffs are off and they're allowed to really be themselves, and that was what made Sienkiewicz. I mean, if you see his illustrations now, he does illustrations and covers and movie posters and all sorts of things, and they're just absolutely amazing. Some political stuff. He's just absolutely amazing, and his stuff, obviously, for New Mutants was incredible. And the same thing for Walt Simonson when he was doing his own stuff. I think Starjammers, and then also Thor. When the cuffs were off and he was allowed to develop his own style and really just kind of go crazy, that's what made him. That's what people wanted to see. They wanted to see something different. And but this is just sort of Simonson telling the story, which is perfectly fine. Pretty cool that looks like Storm is giving birth there or something, or maybe having a nightmare. But while the art is nice, it's not the spectacular sort of abstractions and thought-provoking stuff that you're used to from Bill Sienkiewicz. But still looks actually like a really interesting story, and really nice art, and I do like the cover. Let's take a look at the Gil Kane Superman, and then maybe we'll wrap up with Jack Kirby's Commandy and the Slaver Dolphins and call it a day. So, when I say this is Superman starring in Action Comics number 551 that was released in DC is so much harder. Well, I cannot find. Oh, it's January 1984. And as you see, Marv Wolfman, Gil Kane, Ben Oda, the great letterer, Julius Schwartz, the great editor, and definitely Gil Kane art, sort of the famous, his nostrils, the eyes, the hair. Thought it would be very interesting to see Gil Kane drawing Superman, and it is. It doesn't look anything like anyone else's Superman. Just these sort of minions here are very different. Their facial expressions, everything is different than what you would typically see in action. As Superman has, the sort of perspective and the foreshortening and all of these panels, facial expressions. Still draws a very handsome Superman, but it's still very distinctively Gil Kane. That nose, everything's different, a little bit different, in a good way. I like this because, unlike the Sienkiewicz and the Simonson art that we saw, where we didn't see their distinctive qualities, Gil Kane, he's like Jack Kirby. You recognize Gil Kane instantly. and his style is always his style. I mean, he doesn't deviate. Maybe in his earliest stages, I would be interested in seeing some very early Kane. I suppose I should look that up. But once he developed a style, it was absolutely recognizable, and one of the greats, and a great sort of intellectual statesman for comics. I did a really fantastic in-depth interview with the Comics Journal, where there's a self-portrait of him on the cover, and before he passed away, and a real incredibly intelligent man, and obviously extremely talented artist. So happy to have that, and nothing particularly, no names jump out at me on the letters page, except for Bizarro David Hamburger. That's an interesting name, but no famous names. Nice cover. And take a look at Kamandi. I'm very happy with this package. Actually, the grades, I highly recommend this guy, Daniel Perez. He's on Atomic Avenue. But the grades are better than expected. For the most part, better than listed. As I said, I was very happy with the Batman special with Michael Golden. The Teen Titans, they're probably accurate at very good. It's just unfortunate that they're very good. I would have preferred a little bit of bending or some stress along the spine, or even a little tear or something, as opposed to the dirt that's kind of scattered on them. But that's okay. This is Kamandi, Last Boy on Earth, number 22. It's a little bumpy. It's got like a puncture right in Kamandi's head. But let's see, sort of, nobody's more distinctive in comics than Jack Kirby. And beautiful, sort of, it looks like a simple drawing, but I mean, it's just Kirby's primitive sort of power. You know, just unmatched. And there you go, a really great splash page. You know, just kind of wacky, crazy stuff. There's a guy with a porpoise strapped to his back, which immediately intrigued you to wonder what the hell is going on in this story. The porpoise, the animals in Kamandi was a post-apocalyptic world where, as I said, he's the last boy on Earth. There seem to be men, so I guess boy is taken very literally. But and the anthropomorphic animals speak. You know, there's a Planet of the Apes sort of influence where there's certainly a lot of talking apes. But why this porpoise is strapped to this guy's back is pretty interesting. And I do believe this came out before William Gibson's Johnny Mnemonic, which had the sort of or maybe, well, yeah, certainly, I think so, 1974. Or Johnny Mnemonic had the cybernetically enhanced dolphin in an aquarium. It was made into a not-so-good Keanu Reeves movie. It's probably not as bad as the critics said it was. I saw it, but I can't tell you. I read the story subsequent to that, and the story is pretty amazing. It's really fantastic, actually. It holds up. Even if the technology has changed, it holds up. And lots of classic Kirby art. Not bowled over by it, but happy to have it. And this gives you something of a map of the porpoise's underwater city. Dolphins are beautiful people, Commandy. They've become highly civilized. They have a civic administration complex, education, information, law center, food stores. It's all crammed together. Social contacts, theater, marine gardens. I don't understand. I mean, these little cubicles, because the Dolphins look almost this big, but law center, open. I don't know. It seems more maybe impressionistic or symbolic of those things than the actuality. But with Kirby, who really knows? It's obviously trying to illustrate that it's a highly advanced society. And chapter 4 is the hit and run killer. And one of the porpoises just got shot with arrows, as you can see. Tila tequila. Let's look at the ads really briefly. It's kind of strange that they run the ads in black and white. I'm not sure if it's... I have no idea what the thought process is behind that, because you can see that the everything else is in color in terms of the titles, but maybe they just get the original art and it hasn't been colored yet. I would assume that's the reason. I'm not sure. It doesn't make sense because, well, I guess they put together the ad beforehand, but I mean, it's advertising this exact issue of Commandy. But the actual artwork is all black and white, which is perfectly fine. It's beautiful black and white artwork. Of these, I'm pretty interested in the Stranger. Right there, Phantom Stranger with Deadman. I think that's Neil Adams. Yeah. Lots of stuff that did not look interesting at the time. Probably if you're a little kid. Now it's all pretty amazing. Like you'd kill to have any of these titles. And that's Commandy. Not the most jaw-dropping work from Jack Kirby, but still some pretty cool stuff. Definitely some cool images and some pretty much never disappointed with Kirby. There's always something interesting to look at. And so that's it. It's a lot of comics I could have gone through. I would love to look through the Submariner, and we looked through Star Wars. All of these, which actually, these comics look modern to me. They look like new comics, but these are from 1984, But George Perez, Micronauts, stuff like that. But certainly the sexiest stuff is the older stuff. I am interested in what artist is in this Fantastic Four. I mean, Marvel Fanfare, sorry. But I did have these Fantastic Fours there, and of course, Submariner, Teen Titans, and trying to reach this last stack of the Detective. Blade Runner #1, which is my third copy. Batman Special #1 with Michael Goldenart, one of my favorite comics here. The Astonishing Tales #5 with Barry Windsor-Smith, without the Windsor at the time. Another one of my favorites. That's beautiful. Nice covers from Byrne. Another Kane, and another Byrne. So, let's see. Let's close with that Kane cover. Which is also fun because it has all of these characters on it. So that's it, and that was an order from Atomic Avenue once again. And as I said, $50. I think the total for all of these items was $56. But then free shipping which was pretty awesome because it was priority mail 3-day in a large priority mail box. So it's probably cost $15 to $20. I forget how much it is because I haven't been shipping anything in a long time. But so incredibly nice service and fast and really good quality copies. Very happy with the order. Got lots of cool stuff that I like, stuff that I'll scan, and a lot of really great artists. So that's it for this unboxing, and I'll be back next time with some more content. I'm not sure what, but I'll think about it. And in the meantime, I would love to hear any comments. So thanks very much for listening, and goodbye.